So you're thinking of growing onions this year. There are two options to choose from, sets and seeds. Classically, seeds give you bigger bulbs than sets, and there's a number of different reasons for that. I have a video on why that is if you want to go check that out. But here today, I'm going to show you how I sow my seeds and two methods you can use. Now, which one you choose is not going to change the results. It's more on personal preference, how much room you have, and how much time you have. So let's get into it. So first off, what I will say is these are my favorite onions. These are the onions I start from seed every single year. They perform well, they store great, and they get very large in my environment. I'm in a zone 3, so I do like to start my onions indoors relatively early, and I do like to plant them outdoors sooner rather than later because the moment they get in the ground, they really start to take off. So these are my favorite onions. Now, there are two ways in which you can plant these. The first way is a bulk method. So you would get a tray of some sort. It doesn't have to be this size or this way, and you would broadcast your seeds over top of the soil surface. What this will do is it's going to make an onion forest that you then can trim back and deal with accordingly. The goal here is to leave them in this tray until it's time to transplant them outdoors, meaning you're going to let them grow. You're going to notice some bulb or root formations on the soil surface. Completely normal, totally fine. After we harden them off outdoors, we're actually going to tear those seedlings apart from one another and plant them in the ground. Now, this can result in some transplant shock if we don't take the time to harden them off properly or to keep them comfortable as they're starting to establish in the soil outdoors. Some may argue that the bulk sown method may result in a delayed yield or in some cases a lower yield because of that stress in the ripping or tearing of the roots. I like this method because it doesn't take up as much space and it's very simple to use. So this is my favorite method. I will say though, if you are not on top of your transplanting outdoors, you can get a little long in the tooth when it comes to actually getting the gears going on getting this outdoors. I tend to put this off longer than I should when it's in this method because it is a very set it and forget it way of doing things. The second way of actually doing this is with a tray. So this is just a regular cell pack, and inside of this you would plant 1 to 2 seeds per cell. The idea here is to allow that seed to stay in situ until you again transplant outdoors. The idea with this is that there is less stress on the plant, less competition for water, less competition for light, and less competition for the bulb itself when it comes to space, along with less stress when transplanting. You still have to go through the whole process of hardening off correctly, etc. and so forth, but in theory, you're not ripping roots because each onion or every second onion has its own cell. I see benefits to this and I have seen this perform very well. The thing here is that if you are limited for space, you have to consider you could pack in a ton of seedlings into here versus having a larger size footprint, which would be this entire tray. So you can see where there may be a pitfall there, but again, the idea is that you can get some bigger bulbs. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sow my tray the way that I normally do, and then I'm actually going to sow some in the cells. I typically don't do the individual cell method, but I want to give it a shot and see if I can get some better results because I can see why the cells may perform better. If you're new to this channel and you didn't know, I like to reference studies and tests that have been done in literature when it comes to this sort of stuff, and there isn't anything to really show that a tray difference or tray size difference makes a difference, unfortunately. The only thing I can find in literature is the difference between seeds and sets, and its seeds are going to perform better and give us bigger seeds. So get sowing your onions. Grab these ones if you want some big bulbs and you're in a cold climate. They work wonderfully, and give some other versions a shot as well. I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.